All right, we move on to this. A new study has found that White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who we were just speaking about her, offered very few direct answers to questions about scandals. You might throw this one in there as well, that President Biden and his son Hunter are alleged to be involved in.
That's right. We didn't even have the blinking that Jonathan Gilliam pointed out in this one. But Media Research Center analyzed Jean-Pierre's responses to questions asked at White House press briefings from January 1st through June 30th of this year, which covers Biden's classified documents controversy and the corruption allegations being investigated by GOP lawmakers. Now, analysts found that while reporters asked Jean-Pierre 252 questions about either of these topics, only 6 of those questions received a definitive answer.
Yeah, joining us now, it's unbelievable, to discuss former U.S. Senate candidate Joe Pinion. Thank you so much for being here in studio. Your reaction to that report there, 6%?
Well, look, it's all connected, right? When you look at what happened here with the cocaine, right? I think I've often said that we should hope the cocaine belongs to Hunter, because if it doesn't belong to him, then the implications are much more dire for the safety and security of this nation, and also the competency of the Secret Service and our investigation apparatus in this country. With Karine Jean-Pierre, she never seems to tell the truth. I am old enough to remember when they basically said that Sarah Huckabee Sanders should be drawn and quartered because she didn't answer questions the way the media wanted her to answer the questions. And so here we have a White House administration that is completely out of control. Whether you think Joe Biden is complicit or whether you think he just has a soft spot for his son, the corruption of his son, the stench of corruption that is surrounding his son is now consuming his presidency to the point where the White House has become an insecure area. Because to that point, if it was anthrax, if it was some other substance, and that can be smuggled into the White House and Secret Service can't tell you what's happening. I mean, we live in a country where you can get a fingerprint from a digital photo if you have enough pixelation there. So there are real questions here about the competency of what's going on and the truthfulness that's being brought to us by our government.
The truthfulness part I want to focus on there. I think it's fascinating that Jonathan Gilliam, who was just with us, former FBI agent, former Navy SEAL, he is trained to know when people are lying. I mean, that's part of his job. So the fact that he said she gives herself up, basically, it's not exactly the phrase he used, but every time she starts blinking rapidly, he said immediately when he watches, he says, she's not telling the truth. I'm fascinated by that. Of course, we don't know that for sure, but Gilliam's a guy who would know. And again, to the point, if they already know who the cocaine belongs to, oh, well, actually was it an executive entrance, not a regular entrance? It does seem, it leads one to guess or to think perhaps they're covering something up. And a lot of people guess what they're covering up. We don't know that.
I mean, look, I remind people we had a leak from the Supreme Court about a actual finding when the overturning of Roe v. Wade happened. And they've said we're never going to figure out who the leaker is. How is that possible? We're talking about the Supreme Court. We now have cocaine that's been smuggled into the White House. They're trying to tell us we'll never know who actually committed the act. How is that possible? So we should be asking the pertinent question. Forget about Joe Biden. Our government is not working. Our security apparatus is not working. And people should be completely enraged about it down in D.C.
She's very quick to deflect to other agencies than what the questions she's asked.
I think ongoing lack of transparency here.
You got to go here.
Yeah, ongoing lack of transparency. Okay, Joe Pinion,